guys, good morning. So it's actually the same day that I am recording my day in the life video, but the votes on co-parenting and day in the life videos were pretty much the same. Day in the life video got like 2 more votes than the co-parenting one. So I decided I'm just going to record both and upload them in the same week, but that's why I'm dressed in the same outfit as the last video that you're going to see. But anyways, so I wanted to talk about what it's like co-parenting with Colin's dad, Dustin. And I just want to start out by saying Dustin is an amazing dad. He's literally never missed time with Colin. He's always there for Colin. He's been there for me through things that he didn't have to be. And he's always just been so supportive, and we co-parent really well, but it always hasn't been really well. She's smiling. We've had our ups and downs, but I just wanted to start out by saying Dustin is an amazing dad, and having to become a dad at 18 is just hard in general for any guy. I mean, not that it wasn't hard being a mom at 15, but it's different for dads and it's different for guys just in a sense of being a father anyways. And so I just want to give him a lot of credit before I say any of this, because he is a great dad. He's never missed time with Colin. Colin absolutely loves his dad. There's times where he's mad at me and he's like, just call my dad. I want to go back to my dad's. I'm like, okay. But so nothing that I say in this video is bashing him or talking bad about him in any way, because he's an incredible dad and he's an incredible guy, and me and him are still very much friends, and our relationship will never change because we have a child together. And so we just try to make it as easy as possible on Colin, and always remind Colin that even though we're not together, we still can be friends and we can still love each other and parent together and just make it easy on him. So that's my disclaimer. He's a good guy. But so I got pregnant at 15, and it wasn't like your typical 15 and pregnant, the parents kick you out and are not supportive and you're struggling and you don't know how you're gonna do it. That was not how it was for us at all. Both of our parents were the most supportive people I have ever met. I'm not kidding. His parents were there for me through everything. My parents were there for me through everything. They all spoiled Colin. They all spoiled me when I was pregnant. I never did doctor's appointments alone. I didn't go through anything alone at all. Our families were both very much there for us, and Dustin was there for me as much as he could be. So we broke up when I was around 23 weeks pregnant, and it wasn't like a breakup where we hated each other, didn't talk to each other, anything. It's just we knew that we weren't good for each other at that time, and that we could have, that I didn't need to stress about if we were going to be on and off or anything like that. So we just broke up and we're friends. He still went to all my doctor's appointments. He still asked me if I was okay, asked how I was doing. He'd even still bring me stuff when I was craving it or I needed something. He was still very much there. We just weren't together. Wow. And it has sand in it. Oh my goodness, make sure you keep it at the table if it has kinetic sand. And so okay, go. And so that was when I was about 23 weeks pregnant, and then we got back together when I was 35 weeks pregnant. Wow. And or no, not 35. I didn't even make it to 35 weeks pregnant. We got back together when I was 29 weeks pregnant, and then I had Colin when I was 32 weeks. And having a baby takes a toll on any relationship, whether you are 15 and 18 or 40. It's not an easy thing. You go through a lot bringing your first baby into the world. But being 15, 18 and having a NICU baby that got rushed off as soon as I had him, and taken straight into surgery really took a toll on our relationship. And we weren't very nice to each other. There's a lot of things I regret, there's a lot of things he regrets, but pretty much I just look at it as the fact is we were so young and we were going through so much that it wasn't going to be easy for anyone, and we just kind of made the worst of the situation that we were in. But we still like got along. We still took pictures together with Colin. Like, he would still come and we'd watch movies together, and we were just like really there. We didn't really like each other in this time, but we were still there for our son, because the only way that Colin was going to get through that was having his parents and his grandparents and everyone on his side. And everyone was on his side. Everyone was there. He was never there alone. Even if it was 2 a.m. and I was tired and I needed to go home, my grandpa or his mom or my mom or my dad or his dad would come and just hold Colin until 6 a.m. when I would come back or Dustin would come back. And so we really, like, Colin was never left alone in NICU, and that's what got him through it, because he had 3 surgeries and he was just going through a lot. And so he really needed his family, and he really needed his parents not to fight and not hate each other. So we didn't. And then we got to take him home when he was like 7.5 weeks old. And me and Dustin kind of talked about getting back together, but he still liked to go out with his friends, and I was breastfeeding constantly and still working. Like, I started working then too, and so it just wasn't the right time for us to get back together, and we still would fight about like petty things. So we didn't get back together, but he would still come see Colin every single day. I don't really remember like a day where he wasn't over. Like, even if it was just for 10 minutes before he went to work, he would still come and like give Colin a hug and kiss and ask how I was doing, and that was kind of it. And then he would leave, and then like on the weekends he would, like when he didn't have to work, he would see Colin a lot more, or we would like take Colin to go do something, or we'd take Colin to his parents and just kind of hang out. And then we got back together when Colin was almost 3 months old, and we stayed together pretty much till Colin was 2.5. So co-parenting in that time was fine because we were together, and we pretty much lived together as well. And if like I wasn't staying at like his parents, he would come stay at mine. So like we were always together, and it was fine. We had our little fights, but it was nothing, and we never fight in front of Colin. I don't think Colin has ever seen us like really fight. But then when Colin was 2.5, I actually called off our marriage, and thank you, thank you. And that was probably okay. Kinetic sand in that. Go take it to the table. I don't want the kinetic sand on the couch. That was probably the roughest point in mine and Dustin's relationship at like that time. I've known Dustin since I was 13, so I'm going on like 8 years of knowing him, and I've seen the good and the bad in his life, and him trying to get through things, and I've just seen his highs and his lows. And when Colin was 2, that was probably his lowest of lows, and it was 100% my fault. And so at any point, if Dustin wasn't a good dad in that time, it was my fault, and it was because of me. And there were times where I didn't let Dustin see Colin for like almost 3 weeks because we were going through court, and it was just a lot of things, and 100% it was me being petty, and it was my fault. And after that, me and Dustin sat down at a coffee shop, and we talked, and he told me all the things that like I did to hurt him, and I told him the things that he did to hurt me, and we just figured it out, and we like made amends. And then We weren't friends, but I let him see Colin, and again, he never missed a day picking him up. He never missed time with him. If he was working, Colin was at his parents', and then the second that he got off, he was with Colin again. And so he's a great dad, and he deserved every second with Colin that I didn't give him. And so that eats me away, that eats Colin away. He missed his dad, and Dustin still holds it against me. So we weren't always like great at co-parenting. I wasn't always great to him. He wasn't always great to me, but in the end we still made it work, and we got through it, and we just try and do what's best for Colin. And so fast forward like a year, Colin was 3.5. I was pregnant with Bree, or Colin was almost 3. I was pregnant with Bree. Dustin, we weren't together at all in any sense, but Dustin was there for me through a lot. Like, he was there for me to vent about Bree. He was there when Bree, not there when Bree was born, but after Bree was born. He would like play on the ground with her. He would, like, when him and Colin were doing anything and I was over there, he would always like include Bree. He still always includes Bree in everything. Like, they still bring Bree like little things here and there. Bree always says like, "Love you, Dustin," and he'll say, "Love you too, Bree." He just, or like when he comes to pick up Colin, he's like, "Colin, go give your sister a hug. Like, tell her you'll see her in a couple days." He's super good to Bree, and he always has been. And he's always made sure that like Colin, even when Colin's like leaving Bree for a couple days, like Bree still gets to FaceTime him and things like that. And Dustin's parents will still pick up Bree and take her to do things. It's literally no different. They've never made me feel like different or bad about having another child with someone else. They just include her and call her their grandchild too, and Dustin has never treated her really any different. So that's super nice. Like, I'm not kidding. They are the best family, and he's such a good dad, and he's so sweet to all my kids. And we pretty much we just try to make things as easy as on Colin as possible. Like, Colin will ask things that I'm grateful for, and I always say his dad is one of them. And I always want Colin to know that even though me and his dad aren't together, that we're still there for him 100%. And if he needed just me and Dustin at times, then it's just me and Dustin that are going to be there for him. I guarantee you, if Vlad wasn't okay with me, like being a part of Dustin's life and co-parenting with Dustin the way that I do, Vlad wouldn't be a part of my life. And same for Dustin and whoever he's with. If they interfere with me and Colin and me, Colin and Dustin, then they wouldn't be a part of his life either. Because Colin is our top priority, and from the moment that he was born, he's been everyone's top priority. And so we always just try and make sure that Colin knows that he's so loved, and even though we're not together, he is still so loved by us. And we still always do like Halloween together. We always go to his games together. We FaceTime. Like, he gets to FaceTime me as much as he wants when he's at his dad's, and Colin gets to FaceTime his dad as much as he wants when he's with me. We do school events together. All his doctor's appointments we do together. So Colin really does have both of us, and even though we didn't work out, we still try to make it as easy as possible on Colin, and we do pretty well with it. We've gone to like counseling. Just me and Dustin have gone to counseling before. We did a counseling session with Colin's counselor, and I explained to Dustin like the things that have like hurt me in the past, and how when Colin was little, the only person that I wanted around was him, because even though I had like his parents and my parents and a huge support system, I didn't need them as much as I needed him there, and he's really understanding about it. So we just kind of like talked about it, got over all of it, and started with a clean slate. And then me and Dustin went to mediation. a couple months ago, and we set the schedule that we have with Colin now, which is Dustin gets him 3 weekends a month, and then we split like breaks pretty much in half. So like right now he's spending a week with his dad, and then he'll come spend a week with me, and then we'll go back to our normal schedule. But starting the summer of 2020, Colin will be doing 50-50, which is 100% what Colin wanted. Every time anyone would ask Colin what schedule he wanted, he would say, I want to see my mom and dad both like the same amount of time, which nothing to do with Dustin. I think dads are 100% just as important as moms. I breastfeed all my kids for 2 years, so I understand like in those 2 years, like the dad's kind of set aside and on the back burner, and that sucks, but my kids really need me for those 2 years. But Colin's 6 and he just wants to see his mom and dad the same amount of time, and I would be so sad if it was any different. Like if he didn't want to see his dad 50% of the time, that would make me so sad. And so it makes me so happy and like so proud of him that he could sit down with me and his dad and tell us that he wants 50-50, and me and his dad were able to give that to him. And so starting the summer of 2020, he's going to be going to his dad's for 1 week, me 1 week, back and forth like that. And I'm really excited for him, honestly. It sucks as a mom. No one ever wants to be away from their child for a week at a time, and I've never really been away from Colin for that long, except for when Dustin takes trips with him. But I'm really proud of him, and I'm really excited for him to see his dad, because that's so important for a child. They need their mom and their dad. It wasn't just their mom that does everything. Like his dad works so hard to give him the world, as do I, but his dad works really hard to give him everything too. And so there's no reason that he shouldn't be with his dad the same amount of time. It's really hard on Bree, but she still gets to FaceTime him, and if Bree ever wanted to see him like during that week that he was gone, 100% Dustin would let her. So that's pretty much how we co-parent. It's been up and down, and there's been a lot of rough times, and there's been a lot of great times, but in the end of the day, we just make it work for Colin. We never fight in front of him, and we're friends, and whatever Colin needs, that's what we give him. So I'm really proud of me and Dustin. I'm so proud of Colin. He's so smart. He's just so loving, and I think it's because me and his dad have worked really hard with him together to make him smart and loving and compassionate and understanding. And so I'm just really proud of both of us. But again, Dustin's a great dad. This video is not bashing him in any way. It's just explaining how we co-parent and what we've gone through and how far we've come to get to where we are today, and how we co-parent today. And our relationship is literally more than I could ever ask for. I never thought that me and Dustin would be where we are today, like co-parenting the way that we do, but I'm so happy that we are. So yep, that's my co-parenting video. Hope it helps. I hope it can help someone to just get over the fights, get over the petty things, and realize that your children need both of you. No one is more important than the other. Just because I'm Colin's mom, just because I delivered him and carried him, does not make me more important than his dad. He needs his dad. He looks up to his dad. There's no child that does not need their father. And I think it's pretty petty if anyone is keeping them away from them, because I've done that before, and I can honestly tell you it was petty of me, and I feel so bad, and it was 100% my fault. And so I hope that if there's any kids out there or any moms out there keeping their children away from their dad, that they can just stop being so petty and realize that children need both parents, unless of course one parent is abusive or on drugs or any of that. I think that's a completely different situation, but if there's a good guy out there and he doesn't get to see his child, I think that's really sad. But anyways, here's my sweet babies. Colin is at his dad's right now. But hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I will be posting on Wednesdays and probably Sundays.
Going to the park that night.
And apparently we are going to the park tonight. You want to go to the park tonight?
I'll just go to the park.
It's too cold right now. Me and Daddy will take you to the park later. So, hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching my video. Hope it helps some people.